Hey guys, welcome back to Missing Out Mondays. I'm Tauri Jay.
I'm Lex Michael.
And what we do is we tell you what we're into. Start your week off right. Lex Michael, what are you into?
All right, so as you probably know, if you're not living under a boulder somewhere, the final season of Game of Thrones premieres in April. So being that I was looking for an excuse to rewatch and my girlfriend had never seen it past the first couple of episodes, we have been binging the entire thing. As of this recording, we have one episode left, the finale of season 7, which we would have gotten to last night, except the thing's about an hour and a half long.
Right.
I am having a different experience with this show in a binge than I had with it before, which stands to reason.
Yeah.
But I had seen the first 4 seasons a couple of times, and then from season 5 on, I only watched it as it was airing and week to week, and then once a season ends, year to year.
Yeah.
So I was not really retaining and tracking as much as you need to really get to feel any of the payoffs from season 5 on.
Right.
The other thing I remembered, and I think a lot of people would agree, season 4, but the whole show, first 4 seasons, feels like a constant build up until the finale of season 4. Season 5 feels like a big come down, and we lose that sense of momentum, and it starts to feel like a lot of wheel spinning and artificially elongating storylines. My assumption is because season 5 is the last season where they had the books to work off of.
Yeah.
They had to wheel spin a little bit because it's like, yo, homeboy, are you going to finish? Are you going to let us know where the story's going? Because if we don't know where this story's going, we just have to tread a little bit of water.
Yeah.
And that extends into season 6. It really killed the momentum of the show for me while I was watching it, so much so that even though I kept up with the show, my interest, my level of how much I could care or be invested dropped precipitously.
Yeah.
To the extent that, not having gone back and revisited it since then, while watching season 6, season 7 as it was airing, I felt like I didn't care. Like I was impressed by the spectacle.
Yeah.
But I felt like I didn't care. Whereas now, the feeling of momentum, the feeling of the loss of momentum is far less egregious feeling when you're playing it in a binge. The plot lines that don't work, you're getting through them a lot faster. There are big events. Season 5, even though it feels like we're mostly treading water, they off a bunch of characters that season.
Yeah.
And a lot of those moments are payoffs that are largely dependent on you tracking specific, relatively minor characters, sometimes only by their face.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be tricky if you're watching week to week and year to year and not going back and brushing up.
Yeah.
So now watching it in a binge, I actually get the impact of these moments, and it makes it feel a little bit more like, yes, this is still a continuation of the same story, as opposed to things are a little bit disjointed and inert.
Yeah.
Weirdly, season 5 feels like they were trying intentionally to conserve budget. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's just because they weren't sure where the story was going to go.
Right.
And it feels that way a little bit less in the bulk of season 6, but it still feels a little bit like we're holding back because we're figuring out our end game.
Right.
End of season, specifically with the penultimate episode of season 6, Battle of the Bastards, it feels very much like, okay, we talked to George R.R. Martin and we pounded something out that presumably, that presumably they're in agreement on. We have our end game. Now, not only are we confidently, boldly, and with a great deal of momentum hurtling towards that end game, suddenly it's like we have all of the money.
Right.
All of it. Because that episode to the most recent episode, they all feel so damn expensive.
Mm-hmm.
It really feels like all of the budget we've been conserving, we're using all of that. And what, HBO? You know that this is a massive cultural juggernaut and it's going to end soon, so you're going to give us the rest of the money that there is in the world? Dope. And that's the experience I'm having. And it feels so much more complete. So far, complete is the wrong word because it's not done yet.
Right.
But it feels so much more
cohesive.
That's the perfect word, of a whole with itself than it ever has for me before. And I have a couple of friends who, in the lull, season 5 and a lot of season 6, they pretty much fell off because they felt like it just wasn't holding them week to week, and their level of investment dropped precipitously.
Yeah.
And I'm going to some of these friends being like, look, if you have any intention of watching the last season, it is well worth going back because the problem seems so much less egregious in a binge. And I'm having a real good time watching the show. So that's what I have been doing. Most of my watch time at night has been devoted to, like, we'll do a slow night is 2. We've been slamming through like an average of 3, sometimes 4 a night. So I assumed we'd be watching this at least through the rest of this month, but we've got one left and we're totally caught up.
Nice. So my big issue with season 7 is just how fast they're hurtling towards the ending.
Yes.
Do you still feel that in a binge, or do you feel it more, or do you feel it less?
It feels less egregious, but we were talking about how, in seasons past, somebody would get on a boat and be like, we're going to, I don't know, Dorne. By the end of the season, maybe they've made it there.
Right.
Whereas I think the first episode of season 7, Daenerys is like, we have to... Spoilers, I guess. Sorry. 3, if you haven't watched it, 3, 2, 1, as if you care about spoilers if you're not watching the thing already. Daenerys is like, we're going to send a raven, we're going to summon Jon Snow, and he'll come bend the knee or whatever. Next scene, cut right to, he's got the scroll, he's reading it, and they're talking about it. Where, that raven would have taken at least 6 episodes in seasons past to get there. It feels, honestly, it feels refreshing, if anything. No, it really does. Even getting through the lull and the stuff that feels a little bit inert and wheel spinny, even getting through it in a binge, it's a big old breath of fresh air. When it's suddenly like, oh, we're going now. Good. Like, this is better. This is more exciting. We're still getting all the character moments. But it works for me. And it feels, watching them as they aired, it felt jarring.
Yeah.
But it feels like a breath of fresh air for me watching it this time.
Cool. So guys, I'm into Jump Force, the new game for the PS4. Created as a 50-year anniversary for Shonen Jump. Shonen Jump, if you don't know, is a weekly published magazine filled with a bunch of different issues of mangas. So it's like how if you read comic books, it's like they publish what are the trades, like where it's a bunch of different volumes of different comics all stitched together. That just sounds like you're talking about a trade paperback. I'm not really sure what you're referring to. That. Okay. It's a trade. So every month, trade paperback of all these different. And so they have their big 3, which is Naruto, Dragon Ball, and One Piece. Only one of those big 3 is still going, which is One Piece. But in their 50-year anniversary, they released this game, which is a straight-up fighter. You play as a team of 3, but you all share the same health bar. And essentially...
That sounds stressful.
Oh, it is.
That sounds like a recipe for fights.
It's amazing.
And not in-game fights. Out-of-game fights.
It's awesome. It uses the Unreal Engine, and so like all of the scenery is pretty. I think the biggest criticism that most people give it is that the story mode isn't as like custom and engaging as people want it to be. And I think it's because they're comparing it to Dragon Ball FighterZ, which had a very big, cohesive story mode, which had a custom storyline and custom bad guy, and had character interactions that you really got to enjoy. Whereas this one, it's a fighting game, yo. Like they were like fighting game first, story mode, whatever. And so like some of the dialogue cutscenes are just like text on the, so it's like Piccolo says this and your character says this, which I don't mind at all, because everything is just a foray or a way of getting you to punch someone in the face. So like how you get me there, whatever preamble you need to do,
Right.
whether I'm standing next to Goku and Naruto at the same time, and they're like, okay, let's go punch this guy in the face, and you're like, sweet, I get to deck this dude in the schnoz, then I'm fine. But I guess people really wanted it to be this like crazy interactive thing where Rurouni Kenshin is talking to Zoro from One Piece, and he's like, "You like swords?" And Zoro's like, "I got 3 swords, bitch." I think that's what people wanted.
Okay.
And it's not that, because you're licensing so many different properties.
Right.
Some of them that have been done for years. So like a lot of the creatives are on other projects, or some of them are dead. So like you're not gonna get this thing where you have like this cohesive storytelling between all these different properties, because it's a licensing nightmare as it is.
Right.
So you're lucky you even got it in the first place. Enjoy the amazing stylistic fights, and enjoy getting to tag in all these people from all these different franchises, because it's fucking dope. Get over yourself. So that's what I'm into this week.
All right.
I'm probably going to play it as soon as we stop recording this show,
Okay.
because I love it.
That's legit.
Yeah.
Isn't it nuts too that like, and you see this with people who complain about what they would have done differently in comic book movies and whatnot all the time.
Yeah.
Decade ago, right? I would imagine that this is probably no different. People would have been desperately clamoring for something like that. Mm-hmm. And now we're so inundated with media that seems so individually catered to us that we feel, and there's so much of all of the things we were once starved for, that we now feel entitled to bitch when it's not exactly what we wanted.
Right.
Isn't that silly? I think it's silly.
So back in 2008, 2007, 2008, there was a game that was kind of like this. A lot limited, more limited titles. Limited titles. Where the fuck were you guys when that came out? Where were you when they were like, yo, we, Sony, want to come out with our own version of Smash, but with Shonen Jump characters? Where the fuck were you then?
Right.
We could be on our 6th Shonen Jump Smash Brothers, but you motherfuckers didn't come out, didn't try, and now we got this, which is awesome, but you're still complaining. Mm-hmm. Yo, get over yourself. Get your head out your ass and enjoy the game.
Right? Isn't it better that you have this than nothing? And isn't it probable that you're more likely to get the thing you do want if this one does well?
Right. No. They'd rather keep their fucking dicks in their hands and their complaining muscles going.
That's what they call them.
Yep.
That's go home and play with my complaining muscle. Yep.
Guys, what are you into? You can let us know at the regular place, Missing Outcast, MissingOutcast. That's on Twitter and Instagram. The Instagram is relatively new, so please go and give it some love. If you have an Instagram, follow us. We post different things. We post like what we talked about. We post stuff about our guests. I'm going to be a little bit better about posting when I'm out doing things in the world.
Yeah.
So
you're missing out on this tree.
Yeah. So go on there and follow it as we grow it and keep it going. Let us know what you might want to see on there. Like if you're like, yo, I miss those times where you're just like hanging out together. Then I'm like, all right, cool. We'll include that as well. So yeah, let us know what you want and we'll give it to you. Don't be those complainy people who just complain when something isn't the way they want it to be. Let us know and we'll do it, yo. Unless it's weird and gratuitous, then I have morals, bro.
Everything's negotiable.
Okay.
So the other thing too is we want to hear from you guys just to hear from you guys, because we know you're out there. We know you're listening, and a lot of you give us very nice ratings.
Yeah.
Which we appreciate, but we don't know who you are, and we want to know you. So say something. It's not even, man, like when I say leave a positive review, yeah, it's partially because it helps boost our show, but it's also because sincerely we want to know more about what you guys are into and what you guys like and what you guys might want to hear us talk about, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So let us know. Share your passions. Make your voice heard. Own who you are and own your voice, and talk to two guys on a podcast that you maybe kind of like, because that's self-ownership.
Hell
right there.
yeah.
That's the definition.
Right.
The reason you were never able to fully own your identity is because we hadn't started the show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but now that it's here for you, I don't know, leave us a nice review or something.
Yeah, I would say that, like, you know, the one thing I personally feel I'm missing out on the show is hearing your voice and being able to represent you guys, the fans, and being able to participate in the things that you're passionate about. You hear about stuff that we love every week, but we want to hear about stuff that you love so that it can help build us as people. You know our fucking spiel. But in the meantime, Lex, where can they find you?
I am on Twitter and Instagram at @TheLexMichael.
Awesome. And I'm at Tauri Jay, TURIJAY on Instagram and Twitter. And as you know, if you want to reach out to us with your vocal cords, you can hit us up on the Missing Out hotline. That is 978-MISS-OUT. That's 978-MISSOUT. And tomorrow we're going to be talking about the 1931 Fritz Lang joint known as M. So tune in for that. It should be really fun. It should be a great conversation. This is the oldest thing that we've talked about, so that'll be really interesting too. So we get to go back in my day, because it's cool. That's what all the cool people do.
That's what the kids are into.
Hell yeah.
1931 German expressionism.
Yep. So we will see you tomorrow. Bye.